Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where we talk to founders and entrepreneurs who are really doing amazing things to make the world a better place. They're on a mission to make the world better. And I'm Duncan, and I got my co-host here, Arnell. What's up?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this latest episode of the Firebelly Social Show. We have a great show lined up for you today, talking with Doug, CEO of functional new beverage company, Rebellious Beverage. This episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more.
That's great. Thank you so much. And as Arnell said, we're so excited to have Doug DuMars here. He is one of the co-founders of Rebellious Beverage Company. And I'm so happy he's here. He's really making the world a better place. Doug, we're so happy to have you. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
You know, I got to ask you, you have done so many things in your life. Can you give our audience a little bit about your background?
Sure. I feel like about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I fell off a truck and must have hit my head because I left the corporate world of working for, early days of Kellogg Foods and Pepsi and Kraft Foods, and started left a pretty satisfying corporate role and a lot of different things I was involved in, and decided to start my own beverage company because the world doesn't have enough beverage companies out there, right? So we figured it was deprived in that space. But what we've been able to do is carve out a niche that's been very unique to what others are out there playing in. And we first launched a product that's in a single serve packet, about the size of a business card, and is what we launched, more recently. And it's a liquid instead of a powder, so we stay in that lane compared to other things. It does go into a 16-ounce bottle of water or a glass of water or oatmeal or many other things. And we have a number of flavors and a couple different profiles on level of nutrients that go through. From that, we've continued to evolve and do other things, and we just launched our first 8-ounce bottle of ready to drink Rebellious Kids. And as you think back through my background on how we got to where we are, which is the emphasis of your question, I spent a lot of time in market research and finance and corporate finance and supporting sales and marketing, a lot of different roles, a lot of different hats, acted very entrepreneurial in many aspects of it. It was rare for people to come up to me and say, hey, here's the 10 things you need to do this month or this week, or here's your job description. Often it was my team and myself that would have me directing it, but get in trouble of we got too much to do because we keep finding more projects to get involved in, et cetera, with, bandwidth issues. So it's very similar to kind of how you operate today and you look at things. And, what we've done with Rebellious is a case in point where we're drilling home on a liquid functional 5-ingredient clean space, that we actually have professional athletes and NCAA sports athletic departments buying our ingredients. Yet we don't play in the electrolyte space. So we're not in that space that's very crowded with a lot of powders out there. And you know who they all are, and especially some that have been bought by Unilever, et cetera. But we have a very different spot, and they're very intrigued about what we're bringing because we bring natural caffeine, natural L-theanine, and a lot of antioxidants to really promote, this focused alertness, which is so important, whether you're an elite Olympian or you're an accountant that needs to get through the day or a sales rep that's traveling all the time. All that matters. And now we've taken all of that and we took it to Rebellious Kids as a 8-ounce functional beverage that brings in what most kids, and let alone everybody's really deprived in, is vitamin D and vitamin A specifically. And then we bring a few others, into the beverage and fortify it that way for a great tasting product that, kids love. And we just rolled that out across almost 500 stores just this month in May. It's pretty amazing.
Well, congratulations on that. That is so exciting.
Thank you.
I just love it when founders are driven to do things for children, whether it's because of their own children or because of strong beliefs and convictions. We were talking earlier about Rusty Jones, founder of Hello Water, similar thing, and just love that you're doing that. I got to ask, something that Arnell and I were thinking about, how did you decide, or what was the process, maybe is the white space identification process, what did that look like for you with getting into the kid space?
Yeah, so this is an important move. It's not a pivot or anything. It doesn't change our, everything what we're doing still fits to our core. But we, with the Rebellious Beverage Company, or Rebellious Beverages, or Drink Rebellious, which is our website, there's a lot of paths that we can go, and we've get everybody giving us ideas. The CBD craze of 3 years ago to alcohol, to this, kids drinks, you name it. There's all kinds of things that can be done with that. So we're very fortunate when we landed in Rebellious as the name for us to go through. The kids specific one, I have a leadership team that I, an unofficial board, et cetera, that I bounce ideas off of, et cetera. I am very, very much a proponent of surrounding myself by smarter people, better, diverse of thought, et cetera. Because if it was everything for me, the way I would want to do it all the time, it would be one direction of it. And I'm not sure if that's always the right direction, and et cetera. Now, we've had advice of different things, and we've had to overcome things because it hasn't working out the way it should have at times, but it's still the right way to go, in my opinion. And we were sitting around, talking about ideas about where Rebellious can go, but not next year or 6 months, but like 5 years and 7 years. Because I'm a firm believer that you have to have this little bit of this long-term goal. Doesn't mean you have to build the plan to get there, but you just got to have, like, where do you want to go with this and what it can be do. Of course, there's a million ways to get there or deviate from that. We started talking about kids drinks. And I'm like, man, I haven't thought about kids drinks in like 10 years, since my craft days with, Kool-Aid and Capri Sun. And then they're like, yeah, there's a void here. So we started flushing out the minimum pieces I need. Hey, we're a functional beverage company, so we need vitamins. We need to fortify this. We can't use our green tea because there's a color to it, and the parents don't want to have any stains on their shirts, et cetera. So we can't use green tea to help with the function. So now we have to add ingredients to it. So instead of going with very few ingredients, it's going to be a little bit longer. And then, so we kind of flushed this out a little bit. And we said, look, it can't look like anything on the shelf. That was the number one thing. Like, all these have pictures of falling fruit through waterfalls or cartoon elephants or Disney characters now. We don't want any of that. And so a couple of weeks later, we kind of got back together on this, and my design team, and we started talking through this a little bit more. We came up with some really cool ideas. What about if we have little sketches of kids like jumping off a swing, riding a wheelie on a bike, skateboarding, right? Rocking out on a guitar. So let's just not make it all athletes, but rocking out on a guitar, things that are perceived to be fun, and like little 2-year-olds going, that's me. I want to learn how to do that. Or my brother does this. I want to do that. All the kids want to be older, and we're trying to have a product for some of the older kids that would still stay in it because they won't look at it necessarily and say this is a baby product. And then from a parent standpoint, we deliver on all that functional element. So as we kind of flushed that out, we got some early assets together, and I just walked into some stores. Through my network, I talked to some buyers, and I said, hey, I'm just curious, can you give me some insight on what's going on in the kid space? And sure enough, half an hour or more of just constant, like, negative conversation, like how bad it is and lack of innovation and all this. And I said, hey, can you hear me for a second? What about something like this? So they're coming into play, and all of them, their eyes pop out. They get excited. They can get behind this stuff. So we fast tracked the project, and with Sprouts, they're a great retailer, turning things around in their organization and their company. And we have a lot of similar values with our company, with what they're doing with no artificial and functional ingredients and all these things that go with it. They're a great partner that we rolled out with them across our 4 flavors that we took to market. So we basically did all the market research that I've been trained and I can't get away from, kind of a little bit, grassroots, went off and kind of cut through that. And in this case, we believe it's working out real well. And we've also done sampling within our Rebellious family, if you would, not just my own direct family, but, customers and people we know real well that have young kids, and again, we need that flavor profile from their point of view, not from our point of view, to kind of make sure that we bring something in the market that really resonates. And so far, so good. So it's been exciting.
That's really exciting. One of the things that we've heard other founders like yourself say on this show is the importance of having their kids taste and try the product, because they'll tell you the truth, and that's for real. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that. And I think the kids product just in general is really important. Like you mentioned, filling up that white space with functional things like having vitamins, antioxidants. Those are things that is not in a lot of kids products. But I know right now your kids products is a bottle. Do you have a powder for kids? Is that something that maybe you're thinking about? Where are you with that?
That's a great question, because there's just so many paths, right? And
Yes.
And the purpose why we went to this 8-ounce bottle, it actually has a sports cap, so you flip it up, and then if it falls or spills in a car or on a floor or in a schoolroom, wherever, very little falls out, and it doesn't cause a mess. You don't lose all the product. Had we done that with a top that doesn't have that, it's like a dam broke loose or a can that doesn't close, right? So we wanted resealability, and we wanted, recyclability. All of our bottles are made with PCR material. So we already get recycled content in the bottle. Everything's fully recyclable to go with it. So we're eco-friendly from that standpoint. These are kids. We're targeting, we're kind of trying to take, your typical 4 to 8-year-old and widen that gap, bring it down to like the 2-year-old and up to maybe even the 10 or even older, because frankly, the product's really good for everybody. It's not just kids. We market it to kids. So we wanted it to be something where once you show the 2-year-old how to take that little safety seal, off the top and flip the lid up, they're going to do it in a heartbeat. They might not get it right away, depending on who they are, but you show them once, they're going to be raiding the fridge every time getting it out, right? So that's part of why. Now, if we had a packet and a powder that they had to mix and things like that, that really kind of becomes the parent involvement rather than the kids. So this way they can send it to them with preschool or to the soccer game or to whatever it is that they're doing and have it that way. We did look at juice boxes. That was the first place we wanted to go. The problem is that there's really a supply constraint on that right now in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And while it's not really very innovative, we'd be a lot like the others that are out there. This allows us to stand out on shelf a little bit different as well, because nobody has pictures of kids rocking out on a guitar on the shelf. So
it's so interesting, because it's sort of like, maybe it's easy for me to say it in retrospect. It's like lifestyle aspiration marketing, without like the hyperbole, right? It's like, you're not trying to be Michael Jordan. You're trying to be like the 10-year-old kid if you're 4.
Yeah. Well, that was exactly it, right? So first we had some images of the kids that, that we had to use, like someone playing soccer or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's not kind of like that's too personalized for that either individual or type of individual. I go, I really want like every kid to say that's me, or I want to do that, because they all young kids play dress up in fantasy and all these different things. So it's like, no, I want to learn how to ride a bike earlier than later, or you see other kids doing that. So it's like we show them with a beverage that has the bike on it, and all of a sudden it's something interesting that they can do that they could have. So sorry, my Zoom's coming in and out of this thing, but having the bike there. So those are things that are kind of important to us to kind of knock off any type of social component to it, and just have it be like, hey, I want to be like Mike, that old Gatorade commercial, right? I want to be like Mike. That's me that does this. I do these things. I want to have it. And that was kind of the impetus for it. Then I just leave it in the hand of the design team, because that's not me. And what they came back was pretty amazing. So it's really good stuff.
And it's so cool. It's interesting because that is sort of the core of Rebellious Beverage Company. Is like I think it's your words, right? To be different.
Yeah. At the end of there's no question about it. We have, a foundation for us that, a mission that we started. Number one, we need to provide function. So every beverage we produce has to be functional. It has to work for you, not just gut fill. I work for companies that have gut fill. This is all about, if you ingest it, it's going to help you in some way other than just refreshing and maybe a little bit of fulfillment. Also, no artificial of anything. Nothing we're going to have is going to have artificial flavors or colors or things like that. And then we want to give back. So as you think about Rebellious, the DNA of the company, not only are we giving back to these type of things and providing, these two big pillars of no artificials and providing a function element where it's going to help the kids and help adults when they drink it. But more importantly, it is in the name. Rebellion is in the heart of Rebellious, right? So we're really looking at this and trying to figure out, how can we be a little different than what the normal status quo is. In some cases, maybe in the past, we got a little too different. It was harder to get people, on board. But in this case, this is an easy move. And I think this makes a lot of sense because we have the nutrition, we have the facts on there that moms care about and like. Our packaging is all black. So we have this nice wall of black packaging that stands out from everything else and all the sea of colors that are out there. Yet we have some pop of color on the packaging. So from a shelf standpoint, it really, really rocks. My graphics team at Foresight have done a fantastic job, leading the way on that, and communication at Jordan Miller Agencies does a great job with that as well. So we've got great, best in class team that I lean on for those type of things, which is pretty amazing. And the retailer loves it. I mean, everybody we've talked to as we've had it in the stores, absolutely, and the parents and the kids all enjoy it. So
that's awesome. I know recently, so Sprouts, you guys are in all the Sprouts, and Sprouts has a really great reputation for supporting CPG brands like yourself, focusing on organics, doing things that are new and different. And how has that relationship been with Sprouts? I know you just did a grand opening with them, and you did, some sampling. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, again, back in my DNA of early days in food and bev, I was always part of teams at Pepsi that supported the store grand openings for different retailers, that were in my areas that we supported. So this is just something that I want to do. I want to be a part of. And what's nice about Sprouts is two things. Well, there's many, but two things stand out the most. One, a lot of what they communicate externally, that they do in the communities are things that we do as well. They get involved with colleges and support the local, Arizona State and Phoenix area where they're headquartered. They do some Southern California stuff and they support local charities. We do that as well. We support a lot of different things. We have NCAA schools that buy our product. We're going to build out our NIL component a little bit this year with some of our partner schools and then take it broader. So there's a lot of things that we're doing very similar to what they're doing, and again, with no artificial preservatives, which is a requirement for them. We're organic. I mean, all these things that kind of fit in line. So when you have a retailer that has the same type of, mission or the same type of, philosophy behind what they're doing, it makes it really easy to get behind them and partner with them and go that extra mile that we want to be able to do to make sure their customer has their hands on the product and can touch it and feel it and try it, when possible. So later this summer, we're going to have a sampling component go up, so that it's launching with, for more demos. I know we just did a store opening, but, they're going to have more store openings. That's great, but we're going to have a little broader kind of component so more consumers can try it and taste it and enjoy it and drive velocities and all that kind of fun stuff to support, bring traffic in and from our standpoint, market it out that we're doing these things as well, which is important.
So Doug, tell us about kind of the importance of functional beverages.
Yeah, that's the pillar of what we're doing, like everything. And I like that word functional beverage. It's a very broad definition, but at the heart of it, it means it works. The beverage itself is adding value to your body. It's helping you in some form. You could just eat a pizza and that'll solve a hunger issue maybe, but it contributes to so much worse. It becomes a detriment to it. You're drinking Rebellious, whether it's our packets, our kids' drinks with the vitamins in it, you're drinking Rebellious, you're getting the antioxidants to help fight free radicals, to help with inflammation, soothe your stomach. You're getting L-theanine, which is a calming effect to it. You're getting natural caffeine that doesn't give you the spike and the crash that you have. You hydrate by drinking our product, and it helps you, balance everything inside your system better, and your kidneys work more efficiently, et cetera. There's so many benefits. And then on our packets with the green tea, there's a tremendous amount of health benefits that have come out where it helps, fight off cancer cells developing and all kinds of things, and tooth decay, all kinds of things. There's studies out there for that are showing benefits. Now, we're not medicine. We're food as medicine. And that's the important of functional beverages that I think that's out there, is how can we become more of a driver for health and better development within the body, and letting food and beverages help drive that rather than have it all be prescribed and pill driven, et cetera. That's important to us.
That's great. I have a question for you, Doug. I mean, you are so many cool, what a spectrum and a continuum, from I think green tea is more mainstream than we think, but it's still probably not what some people think of instantly, to a very mainstream product geared towards kids. I love it.
Well, that's exactly it. Let me just interrupt you 1 second, though, because you hit on something very important. So when we first launched our product with our packets of liquid 5 ingredients, the number one ingredient is green tea. But there's nowhere on our packaging other than the ingredient line that says green tea. It's Rebellious Infusions. And it's Rebellious Infusions because what we've done is, now green tea itself is drunk by is the most widely consumed beverage next to water on the planet. So it's widely consumed. But here in the US and other areas, it's either you like it or you don't. You either drink it or you don't. And a lot of times when you do drink it, you're drinking it at a certain daytime. Maybe it's a morning, maybe it's an afternoon, et cetera. Almost like a coffee kind of component to it, right? What we wanted to do is make a functional beverage for everybody, but limit the ingredients. Mm-hmm. And green tea is known to be so healthy in so many aspects that that's important. So when we kind of unlocked the tea taste and created the infusion component with our strawberry kiwis and our mint, spearmint and peppermint and peach and mango and cherry lime, it doesn't taste like a tea. It tastes refreshing, and you're still getting all this functional benefits. We measure that. We know how many antioxidants you're getting per serving, which come from the polyphenols. We measure that because that's part of our spec with our supply chain. It's on the package. We know how much caffeine you're getting. It's on the package. There isn't a tea company out there that tells you how many polyphenols you're getting or how much caffeine you're getting in the tea because of the plant-based component. And when they do, and the other reason for that often is processed out. So when you steep your own tea, which requires hot water, that's a step process. Now you're having it hot. Our product's made for ice water. You pour it right in, it mixes nicely. You don't have to do that. If you want it in hot water, pour it in hot water. It's really easy to do, right? But we skip that whole multi-step to get to the ice component of it. The real winner is that we measure that, so you know what you're getting. There's more antioxidants in our beverage than there is in any other beverage out there, and that's something that thanks to COVID and a few other players out there, antioxidants are pretty well known in what they are. When we first launched the company, we weren't sure that people would know what an antioxidant was. And now, it's a different space. And the world would have you think that if you didn't have any electrolytes, we're all going to die because of all the marketing around the sports drinks around electrolytes. The reality is that you don't really need all those. There's very few people that absolutely need the electrolytes. But I understand the purpose of it and what it does for hydration and immediacy of your muscles and things like that. We just choose to play outside of that a little bit. We want to play in that functional area that doesn't have that for a clean ingredient. We do put some electrolytes in the kids' drink because of the constant day playing and often we've been told there's lack of hydration and things like that because their kids don't always know to keep getting drinks and to keep drinking. It's less top of mind for them. So we wanted to have some of that in there for them as well. So it's an important piece. We put a little zinc in there as well for immune boosting and things of that nature.
I think you kind of answered my next question. It could even be the name of this episode is the importance of functional beverages. It's and you've answered that. I think there's a lot of stuff that we need during the day that your product is giving us to drink and you don't have to intentionally go out and buy all those individual ingredients or make choices. It's like it's right here in the product.
Yeah, the question is how can more companies take food and turn it into food as medicine rather than forcing individuals to go get supplements and dietary supplements and vitamin pills and things like that to get to their medicine component of it, right? And if the consumers can make better, healthier choices and have these beverages and food items, not just beverages, but food also, work for your body, society will be in a better place. At the end of the day, healthcare, which is a huge task at every human being, in the country, becomes less of a toll, and we just become more active and healthy and all the way through. So we're trying to do our part to kind of help with that as food is medicine and making sure that we provide really functional beverages that really meet the needs of what consumers are looking for. Number one, from a taste profile, but two, from a function standpoint, because if it doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter. But, from a function standpoint, we're just trying to get a little trade-off of what you normally consume. It could just be water. You could have regular water, but now add our product to it. Now that water is 10 times better for you.
I think that just to clarify it, for people that maybe don't understand the functional space, what you're saying is that can the drink do other functions other than just be liquid, correct?
Absolutely. And it really can. I mean, everybody is deficient in antioxidants. We have a geneticist as part of our, extended family I've known for years. And he put up a marker for some of the testing that he's done, and like 99.9% of it's come back of every test is deficient in antioxidants. I asked him, well, why isn't it 100? He goes, well, it probably is, but there's this plus or minus ratio that we got to have for the testing. And I'm like, I don't understand that component of it, but basically he's like, yeah, everybody's deficient in antioxidants. And so that was something that early on was a pillar that we wanted to kind of fight, because nobody was in that space. Nobody was tackling into that. So that was one of the areas that we could carve into and be a little different from everybody else with a great tasting product. And on the kids front, we wanted to make sure we brought in antioxidants because the same concept, but we also knew vitamin D and vitamin A, and then we brought in vitamin E and B12 and vitamin C, and into the product as well. So now we have this nice spectrum of 40% and 20%, depending on which vitamin it is, of your daily value that you're getting out of our beverage without a cap on it. You can have basically 4 or 5 of these a day and your body's going to be fine. You take some of these powders that are out there, Liquid IV and Noon and some of these other ones, you can only have 1, maybe 2 a day, if that, because they're so potent in the vitamin component that they add in, not to mention they all have sugar in it and everything else, which people are trying to get away from the sugar side. So that they limit you to 1, maybe 2 a day on that. And that's, not everybody reads that small fine print, right? And I don't want to be a company that has a negative component. We're doing things to help the body, right? Everything that Rebellious does, functional side.
That's awesome and so important. So first thing, I know you guys have your shop online where people can find you, and I know it's really a trend in the CPG industry of brands doing, of course, retail wanting to be in stores, but also, e-commerce. Yeah. And so, how important is e-commerce for you guys? And then how are you guys building community and building energy around the brand just in general?
Yeah, so e-commerce is important to us. It always is. We're in this world where everything is online now and everybody's has a computer in their hand, on their phones. So it's always going to be important to us. Retail is its own animal. And on a ready-to-drink standpoint, it is the priority for that, just because that's where the consumer shops for things like that. From a community and building standpoint, you're right. We have our own site. We're also available on Amazon. But we have a select group of influencers that help spread the message as well. And as we continue to scale and grow, we'll have more of that. We're looking at a couple of pretty influential partners to possibly come on board the company. We'll see what happens with that down the road. It's more of an accelerator is what can happen on both sides. So the fit has to be there. It's just not a transaction. And what can happen there, but we're looking at things internationally as well. We've had conversations with 4 parts of the world already about bringing product in and doing things. And because our product is so on trend with what's out there, and the name Rebellious kind of crosses, dialects, et cetera. It's pretty interesting to what could be open for us, in the next handful of years in that front. But from a community, we do a lot from an online standpoint. We have a couple of different partners on the marketing side that are trying to build up more along that lines. My goal with them is we got to drive more followers. We got to drive more incentives, a little more gamification and things like that to drive some of that stuff and move forward.
Very cool.
Super cool. Well, let's confirm that everyone knows where to find the product. So maybe you could just a little recap on your website.
Yeah, drinkrebellious.com is our main webpage to go through. You can find us under Drink Rebellious or Rebellious on Amazon. And then at the bottom of our webpage, we have a little store locator. You can go in there and see the map of where we are, and hopefully you can find a retailer near you. You can order from us, and we have some other partners through our website that we're going to be doing some things as well that either we'll fulfill for them or whatnot they go through. So it's an exciting time.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Arnell.
No, that's cool. I was gonna say that's great. Tell us social media handles really quick in case people want to follow you on social.
Oh, that'd be gret. Everybody, please do follow. It's drinkrebellious.com across just about everything. So, or Drink Rebellious, across everything. So, you can find us that way.
Super cool,
guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, I think what's I wanted to just say is that maybe you don't hear this enough, but thank you for doing what you do. You're making this is why we do this. You're making the world a better place. And, we just want to say that we recognize that, and the people that do what you do are, you're living the life, man. Thank you for doing it, inspiring us, maybe for 5 minutes, I'm going to make you feel better. And that's what we're here to do. So, thank you everyone for listening and to the Firebelly Social Show, where we feature founders like Doug who are making the world a better place and, building a community around that. And what's more to say? Nothing. We'll see you the next time. This has been a great episode with Doug DuMars, one of the founders of Rebellious Beverage Company, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.